Folks, I'm here today in Louisville, Kentucky in search of their Rarest Switch game. I'm gonna go to 2 video game stores and 1 video game convention and try to buy the rarest Switch game at each one, starting with this game exchange. All right, folks, here is what we are working with in game exchange. Honestly, not the hugest Switch selection here. I'm really looking for anything from like limited run or super rare or strictly limit or any of the like limited edition publishers for the Switch. But I'm not honestly having a ton of luck here, especially given that I'm really only looking for complete games. This one's a little bit interesting. Tales of Symphonia Remastered. I think this one only came out recently. Sometimes the glass case at the front will actually have like some of the rarer stuff, but it looks like their only Switch games are a couple sealed Mario Odysseys up here. So we're not working with anything too crazy at this stop, but I do happen to know that at the convention we're going to later, there's a good number of vendors with large Switch collections, so I'm excited for that. I think ultimately I'm gonna go for Temtem because I just don't see this one all that much. But as you guys know, from my collection, I'm not allowed to buy any Switch games unless I find at least that much profit in flippable games, folks. This is Mission Switch. So folks, in order to afford the 40 bucks for Temtem here, we've got to find 40 in expected profit. And the first thing that I noticed is this Mario Kart here. Looks like they've got it priced at 30, and on Amazon, I should be able to get 40 after fees, which is a solid start. So with $10 in the Switch budget now, I'm heading over to the PS4 section, which I've had a lot of luck in recently finding flippable stuff. One example is The Last of Us, because with the show out, the price has been spiked and most game stores' prices haven't caught up. Although it looks like The Last Guardian, yeah, it's supposed to be alphabetical. Another one I've been looking for is Rock Band, which should be somewhere over here. Aha, they do have one. Very nice. 20 bucks on that. And I should be able to get a $14 profit after fees on that. Pretty good. That brings us to $24 out of the 40 that we need. And I actually just heard in the Discord that recently NBA 2K14, believe it or not, has been spiked because LeBron just did something. The team, go sports! And it looks like they have multiple copies. Oh my gosh, let's look this one up. Yep, folks, look at these offers. 26, 26, up into the 30s. I'm gonna estimate just on the low end of that and assume like a $6 profit a piece. But even at that, look at this, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are just tons of these here. I'm only gonna take the ones that are in the best condition, and keep in mind that by the time this video comes out, the price probably will have gone back down because as you can see, there are millions of these out there. Folks, I ended up coming out with 9 of these bad boys. 9, which is crazy because that's a $54 profit. Added to the other 24 is 78 bucks for Switch games, which is perfect because not only can we buy Temtem, but it gives us a little bit of overflow to spend at the next stop, which we will definitely need. So that brings our remaining Switch budget down to like $38 for the next stop. And I have to say, even though Temtem isn't like the crazy rarest game, I'm honestly really happy we're coming away with it because I've put thousands of hours into Pokemon, so any Pokemon clone is at least a little bit interesting to me. So folks, our next stop here is Through the Decades Gaming, which I'm really optimistic for because at least last time I was here, they had a killer Switch section. And if you guys are familiar with the channel, particularly a couple of videos ago, you know that we're actually not just looking for rare games today, we're looking for games that are on my Switch list, the list of 100 games that I really want in my collection. So if we can build up enough of a budget with enough stuff to flip, I'd love to buy a couple of those as well. Oh my gosh. Folks, in the last video, I told you guys, I hinted that not only now am I looking for a specific 100 game list of Switch games, but I'm also looking for a few items on a Grail list. I didn't reveal what that list was, but what I'm looking at right now, I think it's time I need to let you guys know. All right, folks, I have kept you in suspense long enough. Last episode, or one of the last episodes, I introduced you guys to our new Mission Switch 100 game list that we're going to be looking for the rest of the series. But I hinted, as you can see from this sign, that there are 6 Switch Grail items I'm also going to be looking for, and today you get to see them. Now, these Switch items would all be near and dear to my heart, but most of them are way more expensive than I would normally be able to buy in a regular Mission Switch episode. For example, Shelter Generations is a $100+ Switch game. The OLED Pokemon Switch goes for over $400. The Master Edition of Zelda Breath of the Wild is worth like $800, and Switch kiosks have been known to sell in the thousands. Also, Bee Stimulator. Buzz buzz.
Pardon me, but I think did he just say stimulator?
But folks, by far the rarest item on this board, to the point where it's almost a myth whether it even exists, is the Zelda Zeldathon Mission Edition Nintendo Switch. This system was given away as a raffle prize at a Zelda charity event in 2017, and it's estimated that between 1 and 50 units were made. Folks, this console is so rare, this is literally the only picture of one that I could find online. But Caleb, you may be asking yourself, if you can't afford these items by regular Mission Switch rules, then how the heck are you expecting to add them to the collection? And what an astute question. I always loved how smart you are. And the answer is, folks, we're just gonna have to bend our own rules a little bit. And there are basically two ways that we're going to save up money for those grails. The first one is that some of you guys have actually commented that at the end of Mission Switch episodes, oftentimes I'll have a little bit of money left over that just didn't quite fit with whatever we were filming that day, or I didn't really have anything good to spend it on. And from here on out, I'm going to spend down to zero every single episode, and any Switch games that I get that aren't on our 100 game list, I'm going to put onto this new bottom shelf here, which I'm going to designate as the trade shelf. And over time, this shelf is going to fill up and fill up and fill up, and eventually we'll have enough Switch games and random stuff to hopefully trade for one of our grail items. And the other method that doesn't quite fit into our rules as well is every non-Mission Switch episode, I'm gonna be taking one, maybe two items that I'm buying in that video, and also putting those onto the trade shelf so that every single video on this channel, we're gonna be making at least some progress towards one of our grail items. So folks, here is the current collection along with what will officially be our new trade shelf here. And let's face it, that trade shelf is going to be very necessary given that this will probably be at least $1,000. And the value of this one is anybody's guess if it even exists at all. But folks, that's enough blabbing out of me. Let's get back to hunting and see how many of these gems we can find. And so folks, when I tell you that my heart skipped a beat when I was walking along in this store and I saw this, now you guys know why. I think I saw one of these at one point in this store a while back before Switch kiosks were really on my radar, but I don't think it was in this nice of condition. Oh my gosh. I don't see any kind of price tag or anything on this. I don't know if it's even for sale or if it's just like a store display kind of a thing, but this is exactly the kind of kiosk that I would want. It's relatively thin, it doesn't have the like cupboards underneath, and it's also exactly the kind of thing that I started the trade shelf for. So far I don't have anything on it, but we need to get stuff onto that shelf ASAP because look at this thing. I mean, holy cow. But folks, I have to keep my composure. That might not even be for sale. I'm gonna ask an employee as soon as I can get one over here to open this case, but the task at hand is finding the rarest Switch games and finding enough stuff to flip that we can actually buy them. So right off the bat, I'm seeing multiple collector's editions. We've got Triangle Strategy, Made in Abyss up there, and then we've got Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and 2. Oh, and look at this, the Neo Geo Pocket Color Collection. I'm honestly not super into the big boxes because I feel like they kind of throw off my shelf displays. So the other thing I'm gonna be looking for is like, you know, the limited run, the super rare kind of titles over here. The only issue is they're all, you know, it's just spine only, so they're a little bit harder to see. Now there are a couple here that are, I believe maybe East Asia soft. I'm not actually sure. SD Gundam G Generation. We've got a steel book of Let's Go Eevee and then Doom 64 for limited run. But I'm just not that interested in Doom 64. The other thing is I'm seeing a bunch of titles that are on my list that I would love to buy. I'm talking like Hades right there. We've got It Takes Two right there as well. I'm seeing Bayonetta, although I think I'd rather have Bayonetta 2. And there are some limited run ones in here too. Like we got Bloodstained Curse of the Moon right there, which I'm honestly not that interested in. Tiny Metal Ultimate there is another limited run game, but unfortunately it's 60 bucks. Ooh, but folks, the Vitamin collection there is only 32 it looks like. Oh, and right above it, look at that right there. Katamari Damacy Reroll is 12 bucks. That is a game that's on our list and that's an amazing deal. So if we got the Vitamin collection and Katamari, we would only need $44, which means if we can find 6 more bucks of expected flip profit, we would be good to go. Also, I need to ask that employee about this kiosk. Okay, this is good though, folks. We've got Super Mario Bros. Here on the Game Boy for 20. I get 30 bucks for that game after fees all day on Amazon, so I'll pick that one up, and that puts us over what we technically need for those two. But I'd love to build the budget even more because we're about to head into an absolute battle zone at this video game convention, and since I bought a bunch of stuff there yesterday, they're probably won't be a ton of flip potential. Oh, this is very interesting. Look at this, folks. This is a special edition. Is that a Halo edition controller or is it something else? If that's a Halo 5 controller, those can go for great money on Amazon. Okay, folks, I found it. It's not the Halo edition. It's actually the Combat Tech version, but look at this. Used condition, $126 after fees. Okay, here's a similar version, like a similar edition. This one's going for used, okay, $72 after fees. I think that's honestly more realistic because there was only one person selling that other listing, so that's what I'm gonna estimate. That'd be a $42 profit. That brings us up to $90 in the Switch budget, which is fantastic, but look what else I found. We've got another Xbox One controller priced at $60. It just looked really cool, so I scanned it, and it looks like if this is in new condition, if it's not used, we'll get $93 after fees, or another $33. All right, I've got a lot of items to get picked out and a lot of questions to ask, so I'm gonna find an employee and hopefully we can get some answers. Yeah, I had one question. These kiosks, are these for sale?
No.
Okay, but they won't ever be for sale?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, I don't want to say ever.
Sure.
But
all right, no, that's fair. They're hard to come by.
yeah.
Well, folks, you heard the bad news yourself.
No.
Okay, the kiosk is not available for sale, which I feel like I should have known. I mean, it's obviously a great display piece for a business like that, and we wouldn't even have been able to buy it today. It would have been the kind of thing that we had to work up to, but still, you know, it was kind of hard to hear, and unfortunately, the bad news didn't even end there. Because I had him open up the glass case for me to get Katamari out and ended up seeing that it wasn't even in its case. So we were this close to getting a Switch game that was on our list of 100 games for 12 bucks, but unfortunately it did not come to be. And also the Vitamin Collection actually turned out to be the Vitamin Connection, which is some sort of like a cutesy game that just didn't look all that interesting. But luckily, folks, that is where the bad news ended, and this actually ended up being a pretty killer stop. Because not only did I get the Xbox controllers and Mario game that I expected to, but one of the controllers did end up being sealed, and I also found a Metroid Amiibo pack for $120 that I should make 60 bucks on, a sealed 3DS game that should be $50 profit, a Joy-Con set and a Mario Amiibo that should be $15 each, and this huge Gears of War Xbox One console, which very conservatively should be $30, but in reality, I think it's gonna bring more. Plus, I also was able to pivot and pick up 2 games that weren't quite as cheap as Katamari, but still are on my Mission Switch list, Hades and It Takes Two. I love playing couch co-ops with my wife, Erica, so I'm really excited for this one. And Hades is almost universally regarded as one of the best games so far on the Switch, so I'm super stoked to try it out. And folks, after much calculating, even after taking out those Switch games that we just bought, we now have $230 to go spend at the Louisville Arcade Expo. Folks, it is only an hour after the doors open and this place is already packed. But folks, I can't get distracted. I'm on a very specific mission today. Do you have any Switch games?
No, I just have some at home.
Switch games, no. Switch games, ooh, folks, Austin's got some Switch games in here. ARMS, which looks like it's been discounted, and Let's Go Pikachu as well. I'm looking for ARMS because I'm trying to get a really solid multiplayer game collection on the Switch, and for Let's Go Pikachu because I want one of each generation of Pokemon games. But unfortunately today, Austin, I'm looking mostly for rare stuff, so this may be a couple titles for another day, if that's all right with you.
I'll catch you at the next show.
Okay, yeah, plan on it. All right, folks, second booth of the day, pick and choose video games. We're gonna have to like elbow our way in here because it is a madhouse today. But look at this, do you guys see what I'm seeing? A whole shelf of Switch games. The only individual games on our Grail board right now are Shelter Generations and Bee Stimulator. If we found either of those today, I would flip. Look at this selection. Tim, you've been holding out on me. Killer Queen. That's kind of a cool one. Wild Guns, Monster Hunter, Fire Emblem Warriors. That seems like a decent price for that. And folks, it looks like almost all of these are like 15 to 20 bucks, which is amazing for our budget. I don't know if I've ever heard of that game. In this range, I don't think we'll find anything crazy rare, but I'm trying to see if there's anything that might be on my list. Oh, dude, you had one of my Grail games in here and you didn't even tell me?
What?
Bee Stimulator? I am gonna feel so stimulated playing this game. Holy cow. Can you believe it, folks? A $20 Grail right in Tim's booth. I literally said Bee Stimulator. That's crazy.
Okay, now I'm wondering, does he actually not know that he's saying stimulator?
Don't tell Tim, but I literally would have paid at least $100 for the privilege of stimulating these bees. Buzz buzz. There you go, sir.
All
Thank you so much. Oh, hey now, he's taking the game. No! He actually gave me a bro $5 discount. That's incredible. That leaves us with $2.15 left in the budget. I swear, we're about to walk up to this next booth and find a $20 Shelter Generations. This is insane. So folks, our next stop is gonna be over in the arcade room over here. Cardinal Gaming, I saw, look at this. They've got a little stack of Switch games over here that definitely caught my eye. Let's see what we're working with here. Okay, I'm seeing actually 3, just looking at the spines, 3 limited run titles here. We've got Star Wars Force Unleashed is an interesting one. Doom 64 again, and oh folks, Castlevania Anniversary Collection. I can't believe our luck today. That's one of the games that is on my list in the like limited edition section. I knew that I was looking for limited games today. I didn't think that we'd be able to find one that was limited and on our list. Could I take a look at a couple of these Switch games? Star Wars, the Castlevania Collection. Oh nice, it's open too, that's great. Card, the manual. Okay, I know I'll do that one for sure, thank you. This one's sealed. I'm not looking as much for sealed stuff. Folks, I cannot believe our luck today. $54 for the Castlevania Collection. You guys know I love collection games on the Switch, and Castlevania is a series that I have been woefully ignorant of, so I'm really excited to be able to dive into it. So folks, literally as I was talking about this game, I had a couple viewers come up, Patrick and Ryan, with look at this, he has some of the Prophet Simulator GameCube cases. We don't even have those anymore. Asked me to sign them. That's super cool. I need to get you guys some stickers. I appreciate that.
I like money.
Now folks, even though we've technically already achieved our goal, I think that was, at least so far what I've seen, probably the rarest game at this convention. We still have 161 bucks in our Switch budget, and this vendor right next to me, Matt, actually hinted before that he may or may not have some rare Switch stuff that he hasn't even put out, so I'm gonna go ask him. So Matt, I was curious, did you end up bringing that rare Switch stuff?
Yes, okay, you can take these to your table.
Oh, that would be great, thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks so much. Oh, folks, the motherload. 2 boxes of rare Switch stuff untouched. All right, so folks, none of this stuff has been seen by the public yet. The first thing, he actually showed me this earlier. This is a one-of-one like printing impression thing. I don't know exactly what it's called, for Bomb Chicken from Limited Run. Apparently they only make one of these. It's like a mold basically for the cards that they make that go with the games. I thought this was super cool. Then looks like we've got a few collector's editions in here. Prinny 1 and 2 Just Desserts edition. This is like a side-scrolling sort of comedy adventure kind of a series, which I've never played before, but really seems like it'd be up my alley. We've got The Liar, Princess, and the Blind Prince. This is also side-scroller action adventure game, but it's in the art style of like a pop-up book, which I think is really cool. And then last but not least, we've got, I do not know how to say this. It's either P-Sikyo or maybe Psycho Shooting Stars Alpha. This is like a top-down shooter collection game. I suck at all kinds of shooters, folks, but for some reason, these bullet hell games, I'm drawn to them. What can I say? It hurts so good. I don't know. So depending on what he wants for these, I could see myself honestly being happy with any of them, but I'm curious also what he has in this larger box here. Ooh, oh, we've got a lot of stuff, folks. Wow, I wish I could tell you guys what the title of this game is. Looks like some sort of a collection though, so I'm always down with that. Yo, Rockman and Rockman X 5-in-1 special box. So this is definitely a Japanese exclusive. Again, don't know what Mega Man games are included with this, but I love the presentation. Then we've got, what is this? La Mulana 1 and 2 Hidden Treasure Edition. Brandish thy whip and sharpen thy wit. Okay. Intense platforming, cryptic puzzles, and a deadly slew of traps. Oh, this is a fun one. Snake Pass. This is super rare number 7, so a pretty early release, and one that I think is pretty well regarded as well. And no way, folks, look at this. Human Fall Flat. Look at this. Super rare number 1. This would be a super cool one to add to the collection. And actually, when I asked you guys in a community post what game you recommend I put on my list, this is one that a lot of people recommended. It didn't make my personal list just because I don't really know what to make of the gameplay, but wow, what a cool item to add this would be. And it keeps going, folks. Look at this. Gunlord X, The Flame in the Flood, which I think, yes, is number 2 that Super Rare ever put out. Heaven's Machine, which I think is like a, oh no, it's a roguelite. I thought that this was like a virtual novel for some reason. Xeno Crisis from Strictly Limited. Whoa, a Lenticular Wonderful 101. Gigantic Army Sealed. Another one. Another. Oh no, they're gonna make me try to pronounce this again. Pisacchio. It looks very similar, but like it actually has some horizontal elements as well. Holy cow, this is gonna be a hard decision. So folks, after much deliberation so far, I've narrowed it down to 6 titles. I like the Prinny collection because I love comedy games. I like Xeno Crisis because it's from Strictly Limited and it might actually be technically the rarest game on this table. Honestly, the Mega Man collection is probably rarer, but I just really like having games in my own language. Also, this is worth over 200 bucks, so technically we can't afford it. So I guess I've actually made my decision on that. Gigantic Army is from VGNY, which is a super cool New York-based Switch publisher. Human Fall Flat is number 1, and it's actually honestly not super expensive. It's worth like 40 bucks. And then of course I had to do one of the P-Saikunos here because it hurts so good. Okay, if that's a little too creepy, I'll do another take. Because it hurts so good. Because it hurts so good.
And I'm uncomfortable.
So I think I'm just gonna have to see what Matt says on price and we'll go from there. Oh, folks, I just looked it up and it looks like we can't afford Xeno Crisis either. This is like an almost $300 game. So I had 4 games here that I was potentially interested in. I looked them up. Did you have any prices in mind for these?
I've never looked them up myself.
Okay, so these 2 are in the like 40 range. These 2, this one's like 80 to 100 and this one's like 80.
Gotcha.
So if you'd be willing to do, would you be open to doing like these 2 and one of the collector's editions? Now folks, before we shelve all of our brand new collection games, I did promise you that we would kick off the trade shelf to potentially trade for grails in this episode. And since we spent all of our money, I decided to take a look at the collection games that we currently have and pick 3 of them that I don't really like to put into our shelf to potentially trade for grails in the future. And after much deliberation, what I decided to put on the trade shelf were Kojin, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Just Die Already, the Old People Mayhem sandbox. And I know some collectors will always get hot and bothered when I do decide to let some stuff go from the collection, but the reality is I've played these 3 games and didn't like any of them, so I would much rather put them towards something potentially in the future that would make me really excited. Then folks, this last one is a little bit weird, but when it comes to the Prinny collection here that I just got, really all I'm interested in is the game itself. And so I think I'm gonna take the rest of the collector's edition materials and put them on the trade shelf as well, and maybe in a future convention I'll be able to find a vendor that just has this game, and we could maybe swing some trade credit with that bad boy.
Your videos always have like the weirdest rules.
And folks, for the final surprise before we shelve these, you will never believe this. When I opened up Gigantic Army to just kind of take it out of the packaging, I looked on the back and realized it says number 532 out of 1500, making this honestly probably the single rarest game at that convention. And I didn't even realize it before purchasing. But folks, looking at all these titles that are going into the collection, this honestly may be our single best day of Switch hunting yet.
Here we go!
So folks, 8 total games, 3 list games, and 1 bee-stimulating grail later, this new and improved Switch series is off to an incredible start. If you want to continue the Mission Switch saga, check out this video right down here. It would mean the world to me, and I will catch you guys on the flip.